Welcome to the preview of the Pemberton expedition. What is it going to be about? Well, I'll give you a little bit of a rough start on, if you will, the rough draft of the beginning. So it's about 2 o'clock p.m. to 2:05 p.m. I'm in White Rock, and I am about to head out into the area of Kelowna. So I'm leaving on Thursday, and I plan to return on Sunday. So what sort of things am I going to be doing? Well, I'm going to be running a few different experiments, and we'll see how many of them I actually succeed in fulfilling and how many might find themselves, well, having to be done at another time. So primarily, right now, I am going to be doing a trip out to see what sort of adventures and different projects I can take on. Also, in the next little while, as I'm heading out of White Rock, I'm going to, and when I'm mentioning different places, there is nobody pitching me or telling me, well, this is where I've got to mention this company or that company. Anything that I'm going to is basically based on this ad hoc plan. First step, I am going to refuel. And here's the difference between fueling up in Vancouver or White Rock, that region, and fueling up in Abbotsford. It's around 30 cents. So that's 30 cents savings approximately per liter. So I just bought fuel out here at about $2.22, 0.9, and I just got a little bit of gas. And now I'm going to fuel up at, if my plans go accordingly, at the Costco gas station in Abbotsford. And I'll tell you how much I got gas same day, just traveling that far. So it's going to take me about an hour. Now, prior to that, I am also experimenting with go bags and structuring out, well, what it would be like to actually leave, not come back home, and have to deal with what you have. I'm going to game it. So try to picture it this way. I threw a whole bunch of stuff into my vehicle. I gave myself a very limited time to do so. And then, upon throwing everything in, I went out and this is going to be interesting. Every now and again you're going to hear a little pipe up of the computer telling me about my course corrections. So basically what's going to happen is I'm going to find a park, and I'm going to throw everything I chucked into the vehicle out. You're going to see what I have, and this is going to be my inventory, what I can game with. And then from there, I've got to make this work from here to where I'm going and back, buying as minimal stuff as possible. So when I packed everything, I gave myself less than 20 minutes from waking up, getting ready, throwing whatever I thought I could do or what I would think would be an interesting plan of action. And to give you an idea of what I threw in, and I'm going to find out more seriously, I threw in what I needed for camping. I threw in what I needed for gold panning. I threw in what I needed for doing paperwork. I also threw in my, of course, the basic sleeping gear. And I didn't focus very much on anything when it comes to food. So I'll sort out what I actually have. Most of my food is actually go bag food. That'll be interesting. Just thought I'd make a little note here that I am now on Zero Avenue. What's the significance of that? Well, it's quite simple. I'm on the border of Canada and USA. And this is on the Canadian side, and it's zero. So what does it look like? Well, you know what? I'll give you a little bit of preview of what the border is. So this is the border. On the left, you have Canada. On the right, you have USA. And I'll be traveling along this road for a good 20 minutes. And not very complicated, is it? So this is South Langley Regional Park.
Slight right toward 224th Street, Bigger Road, then turn right.
So, a diversion. I said I wanted to take a moment, get my stuff pulled out and figure out what the next little steps are. So I saw that there was this park, and now I'm basically going over, seeing what's happening, and then I'll move on from here. So as you see, it's a nice park, nice set of trails. I think this will be convenient and just right for me to ascertain how I'm going to start with the rest of this plan. So it's called South Langley Regional Park. And I've been told, well, okay, you come to these signs, and yes, these signs also bring me to picnic areas. You'll probably notice that a lot of these times I really don't have much competition for doing things. One of the bonuses is, of course, I am traveling at times where other people are working at their other jobs or have other schedules. So now what I'll do is I'll basically do a little read up of what it is that's here. And by the way, just a little note, I have never been to this park at all. First time saw it. It's about 1.5 kilometers off of Zero Road. So here I'm going to do a quick little read up of this. It's as it is. So I don't have a lot of reading skills, but I'll try my best. Here we go. Welcome. This park protects a small section of the Little Campbell River watershed. Thanks to conservation efforts by the local community, its trails go through young forest where you can find remnants of old growth trees that were logged in the past. Remnants being the key. Look for beautiful textures and dappling of light on ferns, mosses, and lichens, and see big vista views of farmland. Listen for the songbirds, frogs, and squirrels. You might witness waterfowl flying overhead on the Pacific Flyway, traveling between the Arctic and the South. It's a place to absorb the health benefits of being in nature. There you go. So actual location, and by the way, I'll try to do this. I'll show you the little picture here. It's on the corner of 224th Street and 4th Avenue. So you will notice here that the little horse symbol. So obviously they're trying to support those in the equestrian community. Anything else here that I really need to know before I move on? No, it's pretty straightforward. You're here, enjoy. I would say the trails don't look that long or far, so why not? I'll come to basically the lead-in of the trail, and then because I have a lot that I've got to cover in terms of distance, I think I'm going to make this really fast, but I want to give you at least a preview when you come up to the trail, what you're going to be looking at. So, I'm at the crossroads, just past the basic picnic area, 3 picnic tables. So, go up this trail, or you can go down this trail. And as you can tell, pretty quiet. So the next little step will be for me to do the great unpack, and you're just going to see it as is. Then I'm going to repack fast. And after that, well, I'm going to find the next stop, and I'm going to get a little bit to eat. And then I'm going to fuel up. And then, well, you'll learn as I go along, just like I'm learning. So I think I got a good little spot here to pull everything out and then throw it all back in. So, going to do the quick sort, and it's going to be from everything I threw into this vehicle in less than 15 minutes. Then I'm going to throw it down onto this little patch of grass here, and then from there take a quick pic of it so you can see it. And I guess you're going to see what it's going to be like to strip out really fast everything in this vehicle that I threw in, and then I might do a more civilized pack in. But I just want you to try to imagine if I had, for some reason, decided to grab all this stuff and I was trying to get out of, let's say, a fire zone, and I considered like these were some of the more valuable things that I wanted to keep. So I guess it's going to be interesting how to do this, because I can just turn it off and cut from one section to another. But in this case, I'm going to try to just do it the the rough and tumble method. All right, so here we go, and I'm going to see how fast I can do this, and at some point I'm going to try to set up this little tripod so that I can have both my hands free and keep on going. So away we go. You know what? Didn't take me long to figure out. Maybe it's better for you to see me actually bringing it somewhere than trying to hold this camera in one hand and then sort of allow you to see everything I'm doing with the other. So here we go. And I'll try to time myself. Well, actually, you'll probably see it on video, how long it takes me to actually pull everything out. And it'll show that clutter is not your friend. Here we go. By the way, you see me a lot with this hat. I'll show you the hat I enjoy the most. It's been with me the most. And I've had more of my more interesting adventures with it. So here is my other hat. This is the one that I usually wear where there's a percentage of a possibility of things not working out. A little bit higher risk levels. So you know what, for next of my unpack, I'm going to hopefully keep everything in focus. And I'll keep on unpacking with this little hat on. All right. Go bag. Gold pans. Hammock. Why not? Got to relax at some point. A knife my grandpa made. You always want rope. Are you getting the impression that I have a fair amount of stuff in here? It keeps going, but I promised I'd pull everything out, and then later on, the aim is to sort it properly. But when you have limited time, it's hard to get things out. This shows the difference between storage and inventory. Storage, it's really quick and easy for it to be disorganized. Inventory, you can actually find it and you know what you're actually picking up. So, continuing on. This is my gold map. I picked this up and it actually shows me historically where the prospectors were in the history of old in BC. So I'll be going through this as I travel and continuing on with more items. I guess you'll have to guess what I'm actually bringing with me. A shovel. Is the pile starting to look a little large? It's amazing how much you can pack into a vehicle really fast if you really want to. Okay, moving on. By the way, I think this is a good thing to have. This is an air pump in case I get low air pressure. Oh. Truly unusual, like this. Ever seen one of these? Well, long time ago, well, I guess not that long ago in my life, I did marine salvage, forestry, also called log salvage, and this is my stamp. I would wield this and basically stamp a log and then salvage it for the forestry companies, and then they paid me a fee for it. It's very interesting, but just as a side point, and I still have this, I don't work in this industry at this point unless you really, really want me to do so. If we get enough interest, you know what? I'll get a boat, I'll get the gear, I'll reactivate the license, and you can see me doing this on the river and the ocean. We better get a lot of likes and interests and subscriptions in order to do this one. I nearly died so many times doing this over the years, so I am not doing that just on a whim. But it was interesting, and it was actually based, the licensing is actually based on the letter of marque, M-A-R-C. And the difference between being a pirate and a privateer was that letter. And in this case, they took that letter that they used for privateer, so they wouldn't be called a pirate, and they applied it to marine salvage. Interesting fact. So I was technically a privateer for a while. Now I'll continue getting some more items, but here's an example of the eclectic mix. Something I often do, steel-toed boots, PPE. I bring this so that opportunities that otherwise I would not be able to do, I can do. So, there it is. A collection of stuff. Now, I'm going to have to do pause here. I have absolutely no idea what the angles are. And then I will show you the pile, and then I'll basically repack it up. All right, I have pulled all the stuff out, and now my vehicle is clear, and I can actually start thinking about how to pack this better. So I have to take all of this. Yes, this is the stuff that I had thrown in. And by the way, there's your little exploration when you're looking at it. What's in there? Now, some of it's obvious, some of it's not, some of it's hidden. It is just a part of my collection of tools that I use for exploration. And I did pack all of this in order to have options available to me. Yeah, I wanted options available to me. What I can explore, what I want to do. Now, you'll notice that a fair bit of what I've got there is gold panning gear. That's simply because I'd really like to at least get myself warmed up to do that a little bit. I enjoyed it in the past, and I really found that gold panning, one of the greatest gifts of that. I'll mention this to anybody who's trying to figure out, well, what's the point of it? If you want to teach yourself patience, I have to say, gold panning is one of those situations where it really assists you in developing that skill set. So you gotta be a bit of an adventurer. You gotta use the old muscles and brains, but you also gotta use qualities like patience in order to achieve results. So there it is. Sort of a cross-section of what I am traveling with for this whole trip. My goal is to add as little to this pile of gear as I can as this trip continues. So there you go. And I guess what I can try to do is you know what, just for the thrill of it, let's just imagine for a moment I'm evacuating from a forest fire area, and it just happens that inside all of this is my whole family's museum. That's right, everything that's important to them. It could be important documents, pieces of art, tools, what have you. And they were told, I was told, right now, and I have 3 go bags in here. So I want you to imagine a scenario. I'm being given, and I'm going to try to do this. Let's see here. I'll set up my camera, and then the next shot, I'm going to try, in a space of less than 5 minutes, to move everything you just saw into that vehicle so that I can still look out the back window, right? And do it within 5 minutes. And how much work it would be to do that. And this might be really good when you're thinking, oh, I'm trying to evacuate. Yes, but are you also trying to evacuate your personal museum or your family museum or whatever investments you have? And do you really know how much space that's all going to take? Now, this is a 1999 GMC Jimmy. I've got a lot of space in this. You can probably tell by that pile. It's not too insignificant. So what I'm going to do, set up this camera, and then I'm going to race myself for 5 minutes and see if I can get everything in there ASAP and then out of here. All right, here we go. So I'm going to try to set it up in such a way that you can sort of see this process. And mark, set, and go. All right. Done. Now we'll find out how many seconds that actually took, or say minutes, but there it is. I'm done, and now I have to drive, and that gives you an example of what it's like to all of a sudden be given a 5-minute warning and then to try to move. So I'll tell you some more later on Jason Expeditions. enjoy your day. More to come.